Hey, Ryan Stevens from Game Trailers here. I'm here with Ricky Cambria. Did I say that one right?
Cambia, close.
I was close and I asked you so many times before. So today you were showing off the Lincoln level in The Last of Us. Can you give us a brief breakdown of what that kind of entails?
Yeah, last time we showed off some stuff with Joel and Ellie heading out and facing some infected, and they learned more about their mission, and now they know they need to get a car. They've got some distance to go, and that's a hard commodity to come across in this post-pandemic America. There aren't really just car dealerships anymore. So they're heading to a place called Lincoln, and we also call this Billstown, because this is a place where Joel is now trying to go meet this guy named Bill. Makes sense. Bill's a resourceful survivor. He's somebody that Joel has met, he's dealt with, he does dealings with, he gets supplies with. But Joel's never been to this town before, so this is kind of a first for Joel as well. And you get to catch a glimpse of how somebody else is trying to survive. So you get to look, you kind of stumble upon this, and you also get to see how this pandemic has affected a small town. Like, we showed you Boston and how it had been bombed out, how we set up this quarantine zone. We showed you how now people are under kind of a martial law. Now we're out in a smaller town. You get to see kind of what has transpired here, and you get a chance to see Joel and Ellie kind of talk under maybe not quite so much duress.
Yeah, I saw she liked fireflies.
Yeah, you get to have this moment. You get to go through even this forest, right? And you get reminded, at first you're like, oh, infected, oh my God, like what is this? Like, how do I survive? And then all of a sudden you get to see a little bit of wonder.
I've never seen anything like this, that's all.
You mean the woods?
Yeah. Never walked through the woods. It's kind of cool.
So we're showing off the relationship between her and Joel, and then you're also learning a little bit about crafting. Bill is gonna show you how to craft a mine. This is something that's gonna be really useful. You can place it down, infected, if you make a noise with it, it will gravitate towards it, and it's kind of, anybody gets near it, it's gonna explode. And which also is gonna encourage going and collecting supplies.
Yeah, so I played through it, and there's an interesting pacing here. I think, there's been a lot of focus on kind of sneaking around, scavenging, taking out other humans or the infected. But here was where you guys kind of got into a little bit of what I would kind of the natural puzzle solving. There is the kind of, how do you get into the base? How do you carry these planks of wood or these ladders around? I'm curious, like how much puzzle, like, obviously when you guys were doing Uncharted, there's these mystical tombs and you can fit in an Indiana Jones booby trap here or there. But what's the kind of cerebral element that you guys are gonna really try to impact in The Last of Us?
Yeah, I mean, we want to get, pacing is a word we use a lot, how we want to get you some time with the characters, how to develop their relationships. So we see this as a time to challenge the player a little bit, and we like that, we can do something as simple as, like, where do you put this plank, or where does it need to go, or how do you get across this, and then through like kind of character dialogue, it kind of gets to be a moment that you can really enjoy, right? Both cerebral to solve this, and both in seeing a little bit about the relationships develop, and how down the road, how do they work together to solve some of these things? What are going to be some things that, okay, maybe right now Joel can kind of do this by himself, and then down the road, how are you going to get some help from some other characters to get through some of these obstacles?
Now, Bill's obviously been surviving here, and he uses a lot of booby traps. I was wondering if you could maybe talk a little about those and how Joel ends up in a kind of a upside down predicament himself.
Yeah, I mean, don't want to spoil too many things, but yeah, I mean, Bill, same situation. He's going to do whatever it takes to survive. And if you're not careful, you can be the victim of some of that setup as well. So in this case, you did see Joel run into one of those and have to get a little help from our friend Bill as well.
Man, this is kind of sad.
What is?
All this music that's just sitting here. No one's around to listen to it.
Hanging upside down, I mean, we've seen it in Tomb Raider, we've seen it in Dead Space. I didn't roll my eyes, but it's like I've seen this before, but then you guys kind of did really something different. I really can't quite put my finger on it. How did you take something that's kind of a staple of like this kind of, adventure genre and turn it into like a new experience?
Well, I'd almost want to say, what did you feel? What did you experience?
At first, this feels familiar, but the kind of the gun waver, the disorienting upside down felt somehow different than before. You have the kind of the protection element for I'm doing your job. The productive element with protecting Ellie. Can I ask what went into designing this element?
This section was actually developed by Mark Davis, who you know. I mean, those things. We start with something that we knew we wanted. That we wanted to get that moment. We wanted to then figure out how to capture all these things that you're describing, right? How to get that tension. How much ammo do we give you to start with? How do you build this relationship with Ellie? I think throughout all of this. You get a little bit more because you have this important character with you. Like we're trying to get you to experience it in a new way of like, okay, at first you're in trouble. I mean, you're the one hanging upside down, and you're like, okay, what do I do? And then she's in danger, so how are you protecting her? And then she's helping you out. So this just, again, the circle, and I think all those things kind of add up to feel unique because you now feel like, are they a little bit closer now? They just kind of totally helped each other. So I think in that way, and all the things you described, I think it feels a little fresh.
And the aftermath to that is this kind of escape sequence where, again, I think it goes into the larger question of who wants to do an escort quest for 15 hours. And again, how do you kind of get that balance of being the protector, but also kind of making sure, and Bill joins the picture as well, kind of this kind of AI companion, but also making sure the player doesn't feel useless, but while not also having it be a complete cakewalk.
Pacing, storytelling, creating those moments, creating those really emergent gameplay moments where they can suddenly help you when you need it, right? When they, which all comes down to some phenomenal AI, like the behind the in the gut stuff of like how those things are working together to create those moments for you where you do feel like, okay, I don't need to watch them all the time, but I can't leave them alone, right? You still, because there is still Joel as protector, right?
All right, here's the bridge. That's our way out of here.
Hey, Ellie, slow down. Wait for me.
What?
Bill, pretty capable guy, but just like ways that you can get overwhelmed and they have your back, same can happen to them occasionally. So I think it gets into getting that pacing right for like how and when under what circumstances and getting those moments to feel integrated into the story and contextually make sense.
This place is very quaint.
Quaint.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how would you describe it?
Empty.
Yeah, that would be another way.
And this is a question I've had for The Last of Us for a long time, and I haven't been able to ask. Human life seems kind of precious, even when you're taking it. And I'm curious, as game developers, are we going to see, like, when we played early Uncharted, you'd kill the same pirate 100 times. Are you guys doing anything to make the people that you come up against, do they have, are you randomizing or humanizing any of the variables? We've seen it in The Witcher when they re-released it. Are you doing anything to make the human characters stand out as like unique individuals?
I think we'll have some very specific characters that you'll have to interact with that will make you feel that, and we'll get, because you're moving through these different spaces and you're on this journey, you're going to feel like you're running into new types of people. People are going to try and survive in different ways. So as you look to that, you're going to almost get a sense of these tribes or these ways that people are surviving, and thus how do they confront you? What do they do when faced with a threat? All those things I think will keep you grounded in the way that you deal with them.
How did you guys, scavenging is very important. It's done in real time. It has real effects, like ammo's limited. How did you guys try to make sure that scavenging isn't an afterthought or a compulsion, but something that actually, is deeply integrated, again, into the story and the pacing?
It's a part of our core combat loop. I mean, pretty much, whether you're ranging from things that you can craft, like medkits and Molotovs we've talked a bit about, then it also gets into upgrades for both your weapons and for Joel as well. Things to either give him more health, things to reduce weapon sway, and then with the different gears and things you can find, you can then upgrade your weapons at these different tool benches and all these things. Because we're such like a grounded, limited resource world, and that these are tough fights, you kind of need these things, right? You're going to need to go and scavenge some of these things and make sure you have supplies, or it's going to be a pretty difficult fight.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just excited for people to play it and want to get it in their hands.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.